Greetings, greetings, my brothers and sisters. I call you my brothers because I'ma always love you. I call you my sisters because I'ma always put up with you. I am your speaker. You can call me D Black Wall Street, D. Blackwall, ST. Or simply Mr. Cornett. I encourage you all to bring your minds and leave everything else behind. Thank you. These four principles, I want us to see these four principles as four materials, right? And the reason why I want us to see these principles as material, because we are trying to build something. And whenever you are trying to build something, the material that you choose is very, very important. You can't properly build something or expect something that you build to last or have longevity if the materials that you use are not good materials. So we have to make sure that we are thinking about building, but also thinking about what type of materials do I need. And these four principles that we are going to need, that we're going to use, these four principles are going to make up the material for our foundation. See, a foundation is very important. If you do not have a foundation to stand on, nothing you build will stand. The foundation serves as the structure. It holds everything upright. See, if we want to be stable, if we want to be held upright, we have to build a foundation. It takes time, but it's worth the time because anything that we build is going to be built upon the foundation that we build before we build anything. And most of the time we build and we want to build and we have these ideas and we have these plans, but we don't have a solid structure. We don't have a solid foundation. The household does not have a solid structure. Our communities does not have a solid structure. Nothing is being held upright. See, the foundation is everything. If the foundation is cracked, so is the house. If the foundation is tilted, so is the house. If the foundation is weak or volatile or vulnerable, so is the house. If the foundation can be infiltrated, or if the foundation can be moved, or if the foundation moves, everything that sits on the foundation move. So we're thinking about spiritual stability. We're thinking about spiritual structure. We're thinking about a spiritual planting. And if we're going to be planted spiritually, we're going to be stable spiritually, we're going to have a spiritual structure, we have to think about foundations. See, all we need is one foundation. See, it will be impossible for us to stand on multiple foundations at one time. But once we build that one solid foundation, then when we begin to build upon top of that foundation, then we will see the strength. Then we will see the durability, the longevity. See, foundation is not about looks. See, if you're worried about the look of the foundation, then you're worried about the wrong thing. The looks does not have anything to do with the strength. When you think about a foundation, everything about the foundation is about strength. The stronger the foundation, the longer the foundation, the stronger the foundation is, the longer the foundation. Right? Basically what I'm saying is how strong it is going to determine how long it lasts. Right? How strong it is going to determine how it does and how it performs when certain conditions come along. We got to think about that. I want us to think about that. A foundation. how do I build a foundation? But the most important thing is, what materials do I use if I want to build one? The greatest carpenter that ever lived, he gave two examples. He said some build their houses upon sand. He called those people foolish. And then he said some build their houses upon a rock. He called those people wise. So it's about being wise and it's about being foolish. Being wise means you are choosing the right material because you understand something. You have knowledge that's causing you to say, you know what? I have to choose the right material. And to be foolish means to choose the wrong material for the wrong reason. If we're thinking about looks, how something looks, then that foundation is not going to last at all. Because remember, we can't control the conditions of life. It's not going to be sunny all the time. It's not going to rain all the time. It's not going to be hot all the time. It's not going to be cold all the time. There might be some hurricanes. There might be some tornadoes. There might be some windstorms. There might be some hailstorms. There might be some super hot days. There might be some below zero cold days. What I'm trying to say is we can't control the conditions of life. And because we can't control the conditions of life, these natural elements are out of our control. That doesn't mean we just sit back and do nothing. That doesn't mean that we move out of fear. That doesn't mean we don't build anything. We still have to be builders. But you have to believe in yourself and believe in the material that you choose for your foundation. Because it's not going to be sunny all the time. So the material that we use have to be able to withstand and hold up its structure throughout these different conditions of life. We all have to deal with the conditions of life. No man is exempt. Every day is not going to be good, and every day is not going to be bad. It might flood, so you got to think about that. It might flood. And if your foundation is built out of material that is not designed to handle or withstand or fight against the conditions of life, you are not going to survive. I am not going to survive. The materials that we use are going to determine how long we last. And when we think about our futures, and when we think about how important it is to plan for our future, if we do not have a strong foundation or a structure that is built from the right materials, it's going to determine how we stand in our future and how our kids stand in our future. So it matters on what type of material we use when we're talking about building anything. And in this particular case, we're talking about building a foundation. Because remember, it's not about you. It's not about me. It is about our children. It is about people that need a structure to stand on. The materials that I use are the materials I should be able to pass down to my kids. See, the problem is we don't have a starting point. It's very, very important that we have a starting point. So I have to pass down something to my kids or something to someone that can give them a starting point. We tell them just figure it out. We tell, oh, well, just figure it out. And it shouldn't be that way. I should be able to at least give them a starting point. And the starting point that I give them will be the starting point of giving them the right materials. Because if I give them the right materials, then they'll know how to build and why they should build their foundation a certain way. My job is to give them a starting point. So these are the materials that we are going to use to build a strong foundation of self. Self. But we're not using these, right? See, whenever we use these, that's when we mess up. You ever notice that anything that man builds is defected? It might be a great invention. It might be a great idea, but it's defected because it was made with these. See, I want things that are made without hands. When we start to create and build things and make things without hands, we're talking about perfection. Remember, perfect does not mean what perfect means on the physical side. Perfect in the spiritual realm does not mean the same thing that perfect means on the physical side. What Webster says about perfect and what other people say about perfect and the definition of perfect is not the same spiritually. The spiritual definition of perfect or perfection is complete, is completion. The first material is extraction. The second material is examination. The third material is education. The fourth material is execution. One more time. The first material is extraction. The second material is examination. The third material is education. The fourth material is execution. See, if we are going to effectively carry out our purpose, our divine purpose on why we are here on earth. Everybody has a purpose on why they are here. And some spend half of their life trying to figure out why they are here. If we are going to effectively carry out our divine purpose, if we are going to execute every spiritual plan or every divine plan that we have in our minds, we have to educate ourselves the right way. See, we can't execute before we educate ourselves the right way. And we can't educate ourselves the right way if we are not examining ourselves, if we don't do any examination. And we can't examine ourselves if we do not extract ourselves. So along this journey of self-discovery, along this journey of black wealth, or wealth, we have to extract, we have to examine, we have to educate, and we have to execute. Because it means nothing if we can't fully execute our plans, execute our desires, execute our game plan. Extract, examine, educate, execute. Extract. I will examine. I will educate. And I will execute. Say it with me. I will extract. I will examine. I will educate. I will execute. Every material has tools or have a tool that you can use to help you work with the material. So these four materials that I just gave you, extract, examine, educate, execute, they all have a tool that we can use to help us understand, to help us deal with the material. Because remember, we're building a foundation, and it's very, very important what we use, how we use it, and we have to understand why we're using it. The tools that fit the material are going to help us work with the material. All material is not the same. You can't use one tool for all types of material. Every material has a tool that helps you work with the material. Concrete is a material. You can't use it's a certain tool you have to use for concrete. Wood is a material. Metal is a material. So every material has tools, or have a tool that you can use to help you work with the material. So the tool for extraction is force. The tool for examination is a scale. The tool for education is network. The tool for execution is a system. One more time. The tool for extraction is force. The tool for examination is a scale. The tool for education is network. And the tool for execution is a system, an effective system in place. These are the tools that we are going to use as we're building our spiritual foundation. And you will find out that this foundation that we are building is a fortress. See, we don't talk about fortresses. A fortress is built and designed to protect, to defend, to keep out any unwanted guests, any uninvited guests, anybody that poses a threat, because it's protecting, it's built around and it's protecting what's on the inside. So a fortress might not look appealing to the eye. It might not be a beautiful image because of the material, but the material that is used to build a fortress is going to defend and protect the value, or everything valuable that is on the inside. It's so that nobody can infiltrate, so the enemy can't infiltrate inside. So when we're building this foundation, think of a fortress. I'm building a fortress, a foundation that's going to be built like a fortress in my mind, to defend, to keep out, to protect the value that I have.